Okay, getting the first pick. Oh, get three, Pyro, get three with the
Wade Kid putting on a clinic. Whole team's down. Oh!
Experience tranquility.
Welcome everybody. Today's tranquility game. It is I, a Batman, or whether known as username on Discord Intel, and I'm here joined by Time Monster. We're here rocking with another takedown week of Tranquility Season, Domination versus Echo Fleet. We're here with a pretty nice game in the Discord tier. I'm obviously Batman. I've got my Robin right here. If you can't tell, say hi. And I'm here with Time Monster. How are you doing, Alfred?
I didn't expect you to actually pull that voice out, but yeah, yes. I'm his Alfred today. I decided to put this on without, and I forgot that he was going to be Batman, even though I literally made a Photoshop. I photoshopped a meme 5-10 minutes ago, where it was if you check the memes on the Discord server, which by the way, join the Discord server. You're not right in it. In the Discord server, I put in memes. It's funny. I knew he was going to be doing this. I put this on without thinking, and I'm now 1 year older than Batman Alfred. So.
Yeah, yes, very exactly. Robin has just escaped throughout the room. He's going on a mission, so he gets to enjoy his...
die.
No, Jason, not Jason Todd, but either way, we're here very much live, and we're in a very interesting area within the Discord tier right now. It is Echo Fleet versus Domination, and Echo Fleet has continuously been one of the most dominant teams of this season. Am I correct?
Yeah. I mean, at the start of the season, in stage 1, they were 4-1, right? That's great. That's a great record. And in their most recent stage 2, they did even better. They were 3-0, which is fantastic. But funnily enough, as you might expect, Echo Fleet and Domination were in the same division. This match happened on the 1st of October. And it was Echo Fleet taking that one, obviously, since it went 3-0, with a 3-1 victory over Domination. So right now it's the run back for Domination to try and get redemption against their demons here. And whoever wins this, by the way, has to go against Quokka Queens, who they also ended up losing to Echo Fleet, by the way, in a 4-0 fashion earlier this month. So if Echo Fleet manages to get into that match, that is going to be their nightmare awakened, as Quaka Queens are going to want to just rip them to shreds. But if they lose, and they're going to be going down into losers bracket to fight Inferno Foxes, or no, Inferno Foxes beat Poseidon. So yeah, it would be Inferno Foxes beating, or not beating, but going against the loser of this match, who have done pretty decently for themselves this season. So it's going to be a pretty decent matchup. Either way, if Domination managed to come out here and steal a win here, because let's be honest, they are the underdog. If they can manage to steal the win here, that's going to be huge, but they'll be going against Quaka Queens, who are going to be mad that they have had their chance for redemption stolen. So either way, Quaka Queens are coming in here with hot fire determination, and I have no doubt that they will make it into the winners finals on this side to go against the winner of this match.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. There's a lot riding on this match. A lot that they're going to have to be working with, especially if they want to make it further. Our first map is going to be Lijiang Tower more than anything. So obviously, you know, the root of Gotham as we're returning to live. I think it's going to be quite curious to see how these teams try to rock out. Domination have been one of those more teams that I haven't been really seeing as aggressive, while Echo Fleet very much have been kind of working onto the directing bot comp. So curious to see how they try to run out on this.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're not dominant in a season, that doesn't mean you're necessarily worse. Like, you can have close matches every single time and end up winning. Like, for example, take Boston Uprising, Season 1, Stage 3, 10-0, and I think half of their matches went to Map 5. A great team doesn't have to be dominant, so that isn't necessarily a vindication of a guaranteed loss here. But it is, at the same time, going to put them on the back foot, obviously.
Well, more than anything, it does seem like we are looking at the traditional kind of compositions that these teams want to run. But more than anything, why do you think we see one side of Moira?
Well, it's pretty simple, honestly. When you're playing in this close quarters sort of fight, which both teams playing on the Symmetra, if you expect the other team to play the Symmetra comp against you, the Moira is going to be worse, apparently, because they're both playing Baptiste. You baited me. But the Doomfist is an interesting pick, though, because most people would play May or Junkrat. Doomfist is really interesting for this initial brawl. One punch to go.
Yeah, we're already looking out to see who's going to be going down first, and it seems Miko. That's a bit unfortunate because now Gap is just going to be able to start running through. Although it seems like Relentless is using that beam, being able to take an immense amount of damage towards the opponents. And look at that, it's pretty much a quick melt, and that's how most fights in Lijiang Tower really need to be.
Yeah, it's a great first fight for Domination. They might have made it go a little bit too fast, considering the fact that they don't cap until after the fight was already over. But at the same time, obviously, they're getting a lot of ult charge. And if you look at the ult differences between the two Doomfists, Gap has 76%. He did so much work in that last fight. Even though he didn't get that immediate pick off, he still did got a ton of value in that last fight.
Yeah, so now when setting up, it's how you really want to try and engage into this.
What?
Yet Gap is able to find out the Baptiste, meaning that they have no immortality, and Miko is going to be immediately found out. Though Foxford is going to somewhat be traded, it's not that big of an issue, as they pretty much feel fine. And losing those people, they still have a Symmetra to allow them to come back faster. Right now, Domination really have nothing to worry about.
You can't put yourself into a situation where you lose your Baptiste first. That is immortality field out of the situation, out of the conversation. And coming into here, you did not force a single ultimate. You got a sound barrier, window, everything coming up here for Domination, and they are going to be able to get a really good ult cycle off, and it's going to be really, really hard for Echo Fleet to catch up in this round.
Yeah, more than anything, they're having troubles to move in. Though that Shatter gets a good amount, the sound barrier is more than enough to sustain them throughout it. Now they're relying on this window, trying to make some difference while they wait for their own people to come back. That Shatter does make a difference as that bomb goes up high, finds nothing, but they've already lost out Yoon. Nico, wait, you just saw the Baptiste walk. Okay, never mind, gonna ignore that because they're still fighting out.
Oh, the bomb!
Like, Toxic Bomb is more than enough to kind of help them out as Foxford kind of threw that fight. Though the slam, it just seems Domination want to do the best that they can to stall this out, but it is no longer in their favor.
Everything came up red there for Domination. Foxer jumping off the map. If he was up there, he could have easily immortality bed self-destruct. And then Gap switching over to the Reaper after blowing his Meteor Strike. Not a great sign. The Kree switch as well. They're going for a hard rush brawl. Without the Symmetra, it's going to be a little bit hard to find that initial rush value. and this is aggressive.
Yeah, they're already slamming in. That immortality is being used. Though Samer is going to be staying alive due to that immortality. The aggression being put onto them is absolutely captivating as they're able to find out the entirety of Domination and kind of start to reset their own ult economy.
On the positive side, Sully does fall, and that's good for Domination, positive for Domination, because they can come in here without the Baptiste ready for the other side. They can come in even without the Reaper, and considering how far back Echo Fleet's playing, it's going to give them a lot of room to get into this fight, which they didn't have earlier. And now they're on the back foot in terms of ult economy. They need to farm something up. This window might be it.
Yep, they are pushing forward, trying to make their space. That Shatter does manage to find out Gap, but Staymare's just not going to be able to survive. Miko's just able to find a lot of value with these punches, though an immense amount of damage is hitting them. Domination still are finding trouble to push in, and it's very hard because Window and the Symmetra wall are just going to force them to back up, though they do want to try and find out any kind of stagger. The retreation is just there on time.
Yeah, that ult usage there for Echo Fleet is not great. You ran out of your house building tools, no walls, no windows. It's going to be really hard to win this next fight against, like I said earlier, you got to tank one fight as Domination in order to come back stronger, and they are coming in real hard.
Yep, they're running in, head forward. We're seeing that bomb as the engager be able to break those turrets. And that beautiful charge almost manages to find out CQ, but the immortality's there. The Shatter, though, Blossom Blossom shuts them down. And it's never been the same since a Joker.
Okay, moving on. Relentless is going to have his high noon, but the dark side of the moon here is that Domination doesn't have many ultimates. They used 5 in order to win that last fight. Entering with a window and bomb was good. Earthshatter hits 5, but now you use the Blossom and Beat in situations where you might have wanted to hold those, and now you have to go against this team with a high noon. They don't have anything, but it's still going to be hard to win with just one ult.
Yeah, this is pretty much one fight territory, and we already see Miko looking for some type of advantage. They're not able to cancel it out, but the high noon gets mostly eaten, and the Shatter opens them up. It looks like Echo Fleet finally made that play, though they do
even
the Reinhardt, and it's very much even. The Reaper being alive, Gap still has nobody to be able to protect. The fact that Toxic is still alive there with the DPSs means that Yoon has a lot of room to be able to push forward, shut them down, and take the cap. As we're already seeing Echo Fleet make a name, though this match is much closer than I truly could have expected.
So if I remember correctly, the rule for 2CP is that, not 2CP, control is if you're not on the point 3 seconds ago, overtime will not trigger. So what happens there is they think that just because the other team was at 98%, that Domination could get off and wait for overtime to tick over. But the cap time is what they didn't take into account of. So it looks like a C9, but in reality what happens there is they just don't take into account that last little bit of time. And now we're going to see them both going for a rush style, one with Symmetra, one with the Goth Goats, or 6-man composition, as some might say.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of more interesting to see how they want to try to move out, especially with now the fact that Shadow Dive is going up against this teleporting brawl. It's going to be a very interesting way. It's going to be hard to kind of break into this, I like to call it a microwave, but with the hack onto Staymare, that at least gives them some room and confidence to be able to kind of overstay their welcome. Even though most of this fight is going to be a kind of slow brawl, I love the fact that they are moving back, letting the dive kind of move in, trying to bait them out, though the hack does hit relentless. Toxic's mech is still dangerously low. They are doing a good job of taking sites and rotations, and it seems that Domination are going to look to try and take control of the point. However, it looks like Echo Fleet want to be able to stall this out, but the hacks are so consistent that Relentless can't even use their own stuns, and the entirety of Echo Fleet are struggling to find room in. It's not so solely uses that coalescence to allow them to feel that confidence out, but the wall is there. Now they have to overstay into the enemy's side just to be able to push forward, but with the Reinhardt Shatter, they have that confidence and they feel absolutely beautiful. Now with the D-Mech onto Toxic, they pretty much have lost this fight until Foxford is taken out by that Primal Rage. Both Sound Bears just trying to make any difference. The point's still in nobody's favor, and Relentless is just not being allowed to play the game as the hacks still take them out. Though Gap is finding a lot of value with this Symmetra, still haven't taken them out. You've even forced out the EMP. Sure, there are a couple of people down, but they are still not being able to find much because Gap is alive and is ready to shred you down.
I mean, you just blew off 3 of your biggest ultimates. Primal Rage, EMP, and Sound Barrier got effectively 0 value there. The Primal Rage was decent, but blowing the EMP in the way you did really, really hurts. And not only that, but the way they were playing initially, playing so slow on the hardest of hard rush comps, there is not a faster rush comp you could be playing than the Goth Ghost 6-man zombie comp. And they're playing it so slow just to try and build a coalescence. I disagree with it immensely.
Yeah, look at that. Another wall is built up. They can't even push forward. They're trying to isolate out the Reinhardt stay mare, and eventually they do it, but they sacrifice their own tank to kind of make that difference. Though the Death Blossom is placed, and most of it couldn't be eaten. They're eventually down and at a major disadvantage. Sure, you have those respawns, but look at that. Miko's going to be picked out inside that small white room, and Classy Turtle still feels fine to be able to come up on another bomb.
Echo Fleet's... This is really where that initial use every ult in order to try and win really starts to bite them. They are only going to have the self-destruct and the coalescence coming to this next fight. They don't have the primal, they're not close. They don't have the beat, they're not close. It's going to be really hard for them to try and farm anything here, and they need to get big value with one of these ults that they have. And into a Noon and Shatter, it's going to be a little bit rough.
Yeah, we do see them looking to want to use this coalescence very early to give them room to be able to push in. However, look, that Shatter's going to slam down. Find out Greninja, though they managed to survive, they need to use that sound barrier just to kind of make some sustain. Though that bomb comes out and they're going to be losing Staymare. Maybe this is the moment until Relentless goes inside the back using this high noon. Anyone that peeks for a second is down, though it seems they're just able to kind of stay out. Relentless misses out that flash, looking like a fool, but Gap's basically going to peel in for any type of mistake. And they have had a relentless fight.
Yeah, that was a really interesting decision from the Cassidy player there to go onto that flank and pop behind Noon. Not the best decision there, I don't think. And again, not a lot of ults. It's been the theme so far.
Now they're moving in. That Shatter's very nice, and Staymare's already dangerously low. Now with that wall, they allow themselves to have enough space and room to take no damage. And honestly, it's looking like they have the confidence to be able to push forward, and Echo Fleet struggle to use the dive just to find anything. Though they do get this touch with the Primaling Monkey, it's just immediately melted down with that window. Though that pause is there, I think we can both kind of soundly say that the entirety of Domination, they're going to be able to capture that point without any issues.
Unfortunately, we do have a DC here from Echo Fleet. It should take just a second or two to get him back online. So yeah, he's already back. That's quick. So the problem is, in my opinion, you going into this with the 6-man, the Goth Goats, into a Brawl comp, playing a little bit more of the bunkery style. Instead of having the Doomfist, Mei, Reaper, Junkrat, they're playing with the Cassidy. So they're going to be playing a lot more for the counter dive, and even though he's been hacked so much, is still able to get value in preventing the enemy dives just from his raw bulk and Fan Hammer already being so much damage to prevent the dives. It's been... And the decision to switch over to Echo from Sombra after the EMP is just not it. If you're going to make a compositional swap at all, you say screw it, go completely off the rails, go into a whole new different type of composition. Don't commit onto the rush Winston comp.
The thing is, you know, sometimes when you have a really bad play, some people will sit there and say, I don't want to play this character anymore, which is very much what I think happened. It's very questionable, and I think we're starting to see kind of the openings and weakness from both of these teams and how their play styles work. But that doesn't matter because we're on the last point of Li Shang Tower, so you have to see how things work. Though the Wrecking Ball composition is something we have not very much seen. Domination are going to have to try to move in on this.
And it's a Wrecking Ball comp with a Lucio as well, not the Zen Ana that you might expect. They're playing to just be completely undiveable. You can't get a TP onto any player here realistically because they can all just dip out. It's going to be really hard for them to find a significantly good target, and this might be a situation where you switch over to a composition like the Goth Ghost. Go onto a Sombra, try and get a hack on somebody, and make it an easy pick.
Yeah, they're stuck and already taking a lot of pressure. That Baptiste is going to be the first one down. Joe Malva's just not able to kind of have that consistent healing to help anyone, especially with Gap getting that hit with the direct. The Relentless is trying to do their best just to melt down to anyone, but it seems that they're struggling. This barrage is built from Miko, and now they can use it if they want, but it's really unnecessary because the entirety of Domination, they don't have any room to kind of get picks or any control.
Okay, so they're going to be on the double hate scan. Originally, Gap went onto the Cassidy, but he's going to end up switching. Goes a couple of swaps to finally going to decide on the Echo. Again, these teams really seem to be rating the Echo pick here, and they're ready into this.
Hey, they're just having the confidence of a Greek god, as I'd like to say. Slamming down, almost taking out the Relentless, but they set up that barrage. Though the trade is in, it does seem this is going to be at a major disadvantage. Joe Mama's using that sound barrier just to give them some staying room to have control over the point, and now they're immediately charging in. Though Greninja is using that Valve to kind of get that res out and help putting that damage. Foxword barely gets that window out just to help them have some room, but the mines have now stopped them from being able to push in. Their Reinhardt's completely split from them. Sure, that chatter's there and you find out Yun, but now they have the sound barrier, meaning that they still can push forward. Miko's still freely in the air without any care in the world, trying to take out Gap and Relentless. Now with the Reinhardt moving in, you're really just getting hit by an immense load of damage. They finally take out that Pharah, but it's too late.
I really like this composition that Echo Fleet are playing. I think playing it with a Zen or Ana gives you a really vulnerable dive target. And finally, we're going to see, speaking of dive, we're going to see Domination switch over to that comp. I think this is a good move, switching away from the composition style, which has been causing you problems, not just the individual heroes, but the style. I agree with this greatly, but I agree even more with Lucio. One of the teams I've been scrimming with actually has been experimenting with the Lucio Mercy backline with the ball comps, and it's worked decently.
Yep, they do engage with this bomb, and it catches Staymare just barely in the bubble. Weren't able to escape. We now see Classy wanting to make some type of difference, but it's just not enough in this one-fight territory. Miko just had so much room to fly around, though the High Noon's just barely going to be able to catch out not only Miko, but you making this in the favor of Domination. They lose out Foxword, making the stall a lot more sustainable throughout the long run, but with the Monkey returning in, it's a lot more of a messy fight. Relentless is looking to pick off any of these people who are kind of messing around, and wow, we do see CQ struggling to make anything happen, even use those mines. At least Domination have set themselves up for a couple more fights.
The hardest part about this, to beat this composition here from Echo Fleet, is cleaning up. How do you clean up against this composition? All these heroes are so slimy and slippery. They can get away with almost anything that they want. You're going to have a hard time catching up. Pharmacy, Ball, Diva, Tracer, Lucio, they're all really evasive, even more so than, like, for example, a Moira. I really like the comp. I really, really like this.
I definitely agree. It gives him a lot of room, and especially from the fact that Relentless is able to find out Yun. This barrage may find out Foxword, but you're set up. That's in a very unresable position until you let the Mercy just barely get it out. So now Miko's going to return, but they had to use that Falcon sound barrier just to give some staying room. Now they're at a major disadvantage, trying to make anything happen, but this 6-man is perfectly fine with staying up. Relentless does go a little bit too far and eventually gets picked off, and the Pulse Bomb's not going to be finding much, but the Mines is stopping Foxword from returning to the point. Now this, what looked to be a more favorable fight, is now struggling down. Gap is able to find out Toxic. He's putting an immense amount of damage until Relentless can return to use that High Noon, but they're losing a lot of people. They've now lost their main tank, and the Pharah's returned in, meaning that they have a lot more sustainability. Relentless is using this High Noon, trying to stop them from getting this capture. Doesn't even manage to find out Solely, who wasn't hit with the full headshot capability, and the rest of Echo Fleet are perfectly rotating around this point, not making sure that Relentless is able to get much. Classy does throw the bomb up, but once again, they're playing around these corners. They're perfectly fine. Samer may be able to return, but you've lost out Gap this entire fight. You've been allowing Domination to push this point into a one-fight territory, but you're still not being able to finish out Echo Fleet, who are basically playing out a quick play right now, as we eventually see Miko go down. Toxic throwing out the bomb. They're not finding much, and it seems that Domination are being able to kind of bring this back from what was almost scary, though Greninja does get this res out. It's managing to survive, and the Mines are placed in the dead center at the point, meaning that this Monkey gets hit with an insane amount of damage, and the Coalescence gets canceled because they didn't have anything to really stop from that immense amount of damage. Joe Mama has to use that sound barrier to make anything happen, as CQ is already dangerously low, having to retreat out. At this point, switches, it can be anyone's game, but this fact that Echo Fleet still haven't finished this out means a lot. Solely is able to use that sound barrier, giving the DPS and the support line a bit more room to be able to kind of move in. But once again, Domination are still much alive. There's only genuinely squishies that are staying here, and Solely, they're not there to do much. Miko wants to be able to use that barrage to find anything, but it's just not enough. This entire fight was freely given to Domination as the stalls were there, and eventually with the focus fire not only from Relentless, Gap, and Staymare, they're going to be able to capture this point, and we're going to be seeing Domination's the first one to take Lijiang Tower.
That's not it. I'm sorry. I started to get a reputation for being brutal, and I'm going to let it out right now. Echo Fleet, what on earth was that? That was one of the worst stall decisions I think I've ever seen. Deciding to stall for a little bit is fine. You start off that stall. By the way, they start off the stall around 40%. They gave away 53% all the way to overtime and lose the round, which I had said earlier that their comp is slippery. It's hard to clean up. But at the same time, the way that they're playing it's great. But you need to just at some point say, all right, let's give them this one. Give them the round. Or not the round, but give them the fight, because there's so many times where they could just stop committing so hard and just give it up. That was hard to watch, because you knew once that res went on from Greninja, you knew once that res came out, it was over. At least I did. It was once that res came out, it was like, all right, they're gonna stall. They're not gonna have enough firepower to clean this up. There's no Farm Mercy, just the Pharah or the Mercy at a time. You don't have the damage to clean it up. You're just battering your head against a wall, and it's not gonna work.
Yeah, I've got to say, I genuinely thought Echo Fleet had that a couple of times. They had the picks, but I don't think they were shutting down any of the people who were genuinely being alive for a lot longer than I expected, or at least not cleaning things up fast enough, which is very much the further issue. And I think going on to Temple of Anubis as our next map, that's only going to be more evident, because Domination, they're going to be thriving off of that.
I mean, at the same time, though, Domination, their best kind of composition so far has been the Brawl composition. They played Reinhardt on all 3 of those rounds, and it looks good for them. But on this map, it's a lot harder to pull off a Reinhardt composition compared to a double bubble, double shield. Those are the main 2 compositions you see on this map. It's going to be really hard to play the Brawl.
And I think anything is truly possible, though Temple of Anubis is not pretty much known for its Brawl composition. I do think Domination, they're going to be basically feeling fine. The more than anything, when it comes to 2CP, when it comes to Temple of Anubis, not having that focus fire is going to be hurting. So while I do see that Wrecking Ball composition kind of working if we see them rock it out again, it's going to hurt a lot more than not shutting things down. Echo Fleet kind of making some very big mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this, I want to repeat that Echo Fleet are the team who most people would anticipate winning, and it's not for lack of a reason. This team is so good right now. They've been playing at the best they've ever been, at least like from what I've heard and from what I've seen for myself. What other people have told me, this team is looking fantastic. But and sure, we could be going on to the stereotype of the worst team wins control, but this is looking really, it's dangerous for Echo Fleet if they keep playing the way they did, which most of the time, you know, it's the stereotype, the worst team wins control, but
I think you're just a boomer, you know, more than anything.
What?
Listen here, all right? Bruce Wayne's in the house, all right? We're rocking.
I'm sorry,
now
Master.
Exactly. Well, that's weird. More than anything, we're now seeing this very much dive competition going up against a very heavily poked double shield. More than anything, Yuman has to try and show off that they want to be able to make some space. I'm more interested to see if Soli tries to just take a lot of allow CQ to take a lot of damage. They build up to a nano, but instead they just seem to want to engage. They set up that beautiful anti, though the immortality manages to keep up, stay and classy, so it does go in a tiny bit of vain as they're now struggling to clean up the people who are just being immensely hit by Foxworth. I do think that was an amazing engagement from Soli, but unfortunately they just couldn't find the pit.
It came down to, I believe it was a shield from Classy Turtle, which blocked off Soli's LOS, so he couldn't heal up Toxic. Getting rid of that mech early was really good. And also, I'm not sure what the Hanzo really does here. Like, sure, it's going to be good burst damage from range, it's going to be low risk, but if you want a range burst hero to try and get picks, I would rather switch over to a Widowmaker, and even besides that, I think even Genji can work really well here as a sort of nano target and a dive hero.
They do eventually use that setup again, but it only hits Staymare. That's the one character you really don't want it to hit. Look how they're wanting to engage back in, putting some pressure onto Gap, but CQ immediately gets melted down, not able to do much. They're struggling to find room. Sure, that turret is very much still alive at 36, but I'm more curious. Echo Fleet are struggling to find any room of value.
Yeah, it's just, the comp here from Echo Fleet, it's a little bit interesting to think about. I don't like the dive. I really don't like the dive. It's the Hanzo. I think Double Bubble works so well here because you get to have that backline hero with low risk Nano Monkey. This is how teams generally have the first point.
Yeah, they do eventually take out Staymare and put pressure onto the high ground, but the Molten Core being placed down on the point is going to be hard for them to move on, and that's why you see them already moving out. Yet Relentless uses that Bob that gets slept, forcing them to slow down this push, but they're using a lot of resources just to make everything go a lot slower. You're giving room for Staymare to come back, who does have the bongo, but it's just not enough. Although Yoon does get kind of sniped out by Gap, and they're diving on top of that high ground, making sure Relentless can't play the game. Staymare has a dangerous amount of HP. This poor little Orisa just trying to get back to the point, but is already close to dying, seems to be focused out, does eventually get that healing as CQ is going to be picked off. I'm more curious, what is Echo Fleet doing? They're all over the place and yet nowhere at the same time.
Echo Fleet look less like a fleet and more like a single ship, which has got holes in it. It's raggedy. It's making creaky sounds every time you're walking. This does not look like the Echo Fleet that most people would be expecting. They're playing this composition, which again, they're going through. Oh no.
Hey, I mean, they have the Dragons in rally. That's a lot of sustain for them to push in. Already popping it as the engagement. The Gravitic Flux from Classy finds the defenders and the mech off. No, Foxy is gone. They've now lost Soli, and I'm pretty sure they canceled something now. They managed to stop a lot of room, and now the rest of Domination, Miko is able to kind of trade in, but Gap's very much alive. Dojo Mama is going to be picked off. We see this is what Brig kind of thrives on, being able to push forward, even get the 2K remake kill. My goodness, that's a beautiful way to kind of put faith back into us.
Yeah, I mean, Miko puts his team on his back there without question. Like, he gets 2 picks, and that just straight up seals the deal. Like, coming into this next point, I think that you should just have sent you into the spawn doors and be like, all right, go Echo, go Hanzo, or no, not Hanzo. Just switch out Hanzo. Play a hero who isn't Hanzo or Baptiste here, please. Or no. Hanzo or Bastion, I mean.
I mean, Hanzo is good against shield, but it's only going to get harder.
The point of a dive comp here isn't the shield, it's to get past the shields and kill the things behind it.
Yeah, so but how are you going to get past... How are you going to get past a shield that is enveloped by not only a window but a bongo? They do manage to find out Fox. We're going to throw that bomb to be able to find Relentless, making their space massive, and now they have room to push in as Gap is on the Reaper trying to take out a Monkey who's just jumping around, basically feeling fine. That Bob does get trapped within the bubble, meaning they're not going to get much, and eventually Miko kind of just walks into the enemy team, eventually going to get poked, and Toxic wants to try to escape, just not enough. They had room to finish it out, but no cleanup causes them to go back to spawn empty-handed.
Yeah, every single time that Echo Fleet has won a fight here, Yoon has had nothing to do with it. I'm not trying to bash the player, I'm bashing the pick. The Hanzo has had 0 value. That last fight where they started to come in, the Hanzo died immediately. And they were still finding value. So this hero is not getting anything. It's been Miko, it's been Soli, it's been CQ. On these heroes, the Monkey, the Tracer, the Ana, they have been getting the value so far, and I think the Hanzo just anything else.
You know, it's a pretty base assumption, I've got to say. I definitely love seeing...
Now it's way better, because you're on a double shield. You have a reason to play. You're playing for spam now.
But against this brawl, it's going to be more of a kind of a rock, paper, scissors to see how these engagements walk out. They're using that rally. That's a good engagement. Though the Gravitic Flux manages to slam down, put in some damage. Now you're down at half health, struggling to kind of just make me fine. Though that bomb is almost able to find out Staymare, doing that damage until they eventually manage to find the main tank. Joe Mama now struggling just to be up as the Brigida has to relate out. Yet Toxic is the one who goes down. You're a Sigma, you have a shield, and now you're struggling. Though Joe Mama builds up that rally, is basically a mini Reinhardt just walking into them, and they can't take you out. My goodness, Brig truly is a mommy to be able to just dominate out here.
I mean, that's just a pitch-perfect explanation of how to play Brawl on Temple of Anubis defense. You just... The most impressive thing to me so far, Classy Turtle's been playing so aggressive on the Sigma, on the double shield, and on the Brawl. He's been in the enemy team's face so much, he's doing so much damage, so much value. Even though he died last fight when he did, he still provided enough value with the Flux. And Echo Fleet just can't handle it. Domination playing so aggressive right now that I'm not sure about the cast pick.
Hey, look, they are using this windows as counterparts to go up against each other for any room to move. And though it's being at a stalemate as both people want to kind of avoid it, the bigger issue is that we see Echo Fleet lose their main tank, meaning that Relentless is basically a free sacrifice and they're happy for it. There's not much that they can do besides from switch over to this Wrecking Ball because now it's at less than 20 seconds. They need room to come back.
And that's
but
terrible.
Nico gets picked because of the Hanzo. Now Gap is in the perfect position to use his dragons and split them up even further, even going out for the poke. Once to take out that Baptiste isn't able to, the Wrecking Ball able to touch, and they pop out the committing flux, but the dragon stopping anyone from being able to immediately touch, even their immortality trying to help, but they can't get anywhere. Now we just see Echo Fleet not able to get a tick, not able to touch, and they are going to kind of have to full hold if they want any chance, or else at most they have a draw potential.
Dominant. I mean, just not even a pun, just dominant from Domination there. It felt like they did not have anything except for their control over the map. They had a vice grip over Echo Fleet and said, try me. It was absolutely brutal. There was just not a chance that anything would happen there from Echo Fleet. And I hate to keep bringing it to the same point, but the Hanzo pick just, it didn't make sense with the dive comp, and then switching over to the double shield comp with the Hanzo's good, but then you play it with the Cassidy. And that hero is an anti-dive brawl hero. You want him to get into the enemy team's face. You don't want to play a spam double shield comp with Cassidy. You want to play a hero like maybe Tracer so you can flank, maybe Echo so then you can get a good off angle, Junkrat so you can get an off angle without even moving, just shoot above shields. You want these heroes who can do big burst damage or go on massive flanks and get their own value. The Cassidy just doesn't do that there, and the Hanzo didn't do it for the dive.
It's going to be a bigger issue moving forward because how often do we truly see a Temple of Anubis get full held on, especially with the fact that this is dive versus double bubble.
Yeah, I mean, it's a double bubble with an Ashe on attack as well, which is not something you see every day. It's a weird thing coming out here from Domination. Like, I would expect to see. It's the Hanzo problem again, almost, except now you have Zarya, so it makes more sense.
Hey, it's anything. Now we already see them moving in. They're using those bubbles. Zarya at 40%, though they're looking more for a person to isolate on. Classy is still building an immense amount of charge, while Staymare is basically free to move in and walk back to the team. For some reason, we are seeing Echo Fleet kind of giving up a lot of this space, a lot of this room. The Echo more looking for these supports who are kind of alone. Joe Mama's not going to be able to protect too much, but Yoon is dangerously low, just barely able to escape as Miko's there for that peel, pumping in that extra damage. Staymare not coming up very close just to find anyone out. We already see Suki taken out, same with Yoon. Now there's really no one who could stop them from pushing forward. Sure, the Diva's going to be able to eat up an insane amount of damage, but a 90% charge. Zarya is able to put so much damage in. Now the Ana who wants to be able to move out gets picked off. The Mercy, not much, but Ninja, I do not choose you, as we see them go back to the spawn room, and now they have to stop any sort of a tick from winning this out.
That's just a textbook example of how you play the slow dive comp. It's such a difference going on to Zarya picks, because it gives you that more aggressive, bulky frontline presence where she can take her own space and not rely exclusively on the Winston Nano. You can bubble the Winston to get more aggressive space. You can walk in with your Zarya and get positions where you make a barrier for your team for your Ashe against their team. And now they're going to go onto the ball comp, which I like this decision. And let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, they're already moving in, getting a good anti onto Classy, though they managed to survive. Foxward built up that nano, so this may be their engagement, especially with this rally. They're feeling fine, but Relentless is dangerously low. That sleep hits out Staymore, not even gonna wake them up. Good respect, and they use that nano, though. Miko's using that copy, being able to play the monkey, gets hit by the Graviton Surge, and they are pushing this. This is sort of a back cap, but they immediately get off of it. We see them now forced to touch this point. Echo are struggling to do much. Now Bob's there, being able to kind of help sustain, and honestly, I would consider that a C9, as Echo Fleet don't touch, they get off of it saying no thank you, and already we're at halftime because Domination, well, they went out Temple of Anubis.
You know, first Matt, I had a perfectly reasonable explanation to you as to why the team got off point, why Echo Fleet gave up the objective when they did. I can't do that for you here. That's just an objective C9. Domination up 2-0 at the half. I can't wait to see how people react to this. This is not how people would be expecting this game to go right now. We have our underdogs, the Domination, who so far this season, their last meetup was a 3-1 loss to Echo Fleet, the very team who they're up against now. That was only 27 days ago. And now they're coming out here full throttle, dominating the opposition right now. Unintended for once.
Listen here, okay? This is not the end for Echo Fleet. I think that they've just been trolling us, you know? This is them sitting down right now and they're saying, hey, we're gonna lose and then we're gonna reverse sweep you. You're not gonna be able to beat us. I think there's a lot of potential. Maybe they're playing off of no scrims. Maybe they decided they want to go into the losers division. Well, sorry, the lower bracket. Just to be able. That was so rude. I'm so sorry for anyone like watching in the lower bracket. Maybe they want to try and make that happen. I think there's a lot of room, but we need to be seeing more coming out of them. They're making a lot of very big mistakes, and kind of fundamental ones too. That is costing them so much.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see if they can shape up and take out the Domination at the end of this halftime. They're not looking like they're going to be able to do it so far, but no reverse sweep is ever expected. So let's see what they can do after the break.
Welcome back, everybody. Here, sitting without my Bruce Wayne. Well, without my Batman mask, was making my hair a little bit weird. Right now, here at the casting booth, we are not disappointed at all, as this match has been one of the finest. Don't even worry about this Houston Outlaws fans. He's going Coco and the Loco. Just had his food late. All right, fusions for life, baby. Fusions for life. Because Dominations right now, well, they're living up to their namesake at a 2-0 right now against Echo Fleet, who have very much kind of been struggling to move forward, maybe find anything possible. And really, what is kind of your opinion, Time Monster? I think there's a lot that they're going to need if they want to kind of bring it back.
More importantly, I gotta talk about this. This is the last of my 5-pound gummy bear that I got from donating.
Oh, it's gone now.
Anyways, yeah. So as we were talking on the break, which I forgot your question, so I'm just gonna move on to that. We're talking about like how, based on how Echo Fleet have been playing, this is a little stale, so I'm gonna be chewing it for a bit. We were saying that we're talking about what map they should pick, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about like, should it be Hollywood because they haven't played a lot, they haven't looked great, or they haven't played a lot of Brawl. And then we said, well, no. Their best they've looked, and this is the opinion that I think we all still stand by, the best they've looked was when they played the Sim Doom on map 1 and won the round. That was their best look. So I think that this Kings Row pick is really good from them. I like that they're sticking to the guns here.
I mean, I don't think I can genuinely complain. I think Kings Row by far is one of those maps where if you need anything to bring back your momentum, this is definitely it. It's very much Brawl heavy, but it's not to say that you can't run other compositions. I think more than anything, this is a map where if you feel like playing something else, it definitely works, especially more in the higher tiers, but then again, we're not there, so am I being too hopeful?
I mean, I think you might be, but I'm very curious. All right, so okay, they're gonna be committing. This is gonna hurt to say. On Kings Row, they're going to be playing the ball composition. Yeah. I do not like this decision from Echo Fleet. I would like to make that known now, so that then when it works in the first 20 seconds, you can call me a boomer. Yes. But okay, we're paused so I can talk longer. But I don't like this decision. I really don't like this decision to go onto the ball comp because, again, they haven't looked great on it, and their best look was on, guess who? Rhine Doom Sim.
Yeah.
On the other side, you got the Torb or the Torb Cassidy.
Yeah, but let's be real. I think the major issue going on with Echo Fleet more than anything is just kind of team coordination. So, Brawl is all about team coordination. Mm-hmm. I worry that's going to kind of affect Echo Fleet as they move forward.
That's a fair point. That was a very, very fair point. When they played the Brawl, it was, I believe, the first round of this map. It was, I remember now. So it was the first round of this map. Echo Fleet, that's when they played Brawl. None of the momentum had swung either way yet. They had a neutral mental. Now coming into here, obviously they're down a little bit on the whole momentum gang. They're going into They're going into map 3. They have to pick a hybrid where they need to start the reverse sweep. They decide to go with Kings Row, a Brawl map, and they choose the ball composition. If you're going to be playing the ball composition, this might have been the worst pick possible, I think.
I definitely, that's a someone who's very hopeful, someone who's very open, and I've been a very big fan just seeing how they've been working. More than anything, I think this is a possible opportunity. We do have a moment. You guys can't see it, but we get to because we're casters, you know. We get that inside deets at the possible compositions that they're running. And it's looking like Echo Fleet may want to be playing a Wrecking Ball style, which I'm not against. I think if there's anything that you want to be trying, that's one of those things. Not double bubble or dive on Kings Row, but this.
Mm-hmm. And right now they're sitting on the Sigma as well. They're going to be trying to play a little bit more spammy, but they're starting with the Moira, which is a little bit of a weird decision. I hope that they switch, and they do. Zenyatta, good. I like this.
Yeah, don't be a hater as Moira be killing them. But Miko's gonna have a lot of issues trying to make any room to play. Gap is not only onto the Torbjorn, the best character in the game, but Relentless is on Cassidy, meaning that they have a lot of poke. They are taking their angles, putting in a lot of pressure, looking like they are going to be able to almost find out Foxford, but they then run onto the enemy side, not only being right out solely, but almost a Sigma, and then you. Then they just retreat. They're feeling fine. Though Relentless is going to be the one who's gone. That's still a good way to end that fight.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm just gonna repeat. Pops the balls! But also playing so aggressive. That's a good sign here that they know what to do against this composition. Rush the Sig, rush the Zen, get your free kill every fight. Repeat. And also, go back on the Hanzo. This time again, I like it a lot more. You're not playing it with the dive, you're playing it with this ball composition.
Yeah, but you're not really playing a ball composition if your Wrecking Ball is already taking so much damage. Gap is able to kind of use his turret as a distraction. Eventually, Miko does take it out, and they're moving back. But Vex is gone. There just isn't anything to heal, and eventually Miko uses that barrage to take out Foxford. There's no ultimate to truly stop them from pushing forward, and it seems Echo Fleet feel a little bit more confident. A couple mistakes coming out of the side of Domination, but hey, they're going to be able to push this payload.
Yeah, unfortunately, their aggression on the first fight did kneecap themselves a little bit, but you still do take out like a minute and a half of time, so that's a little bit. That's probably worth it. And coming into here, Echo Fleet, they got a ton of ult that they can just start pressing whenever they want. Very expect to be the first one.
Yep, they pop it, making that room, and space goes a little bit too low, but it seems the Mind's and Gravitic Flux is looking to make that difference. Sound barrier from Joe Mama's a little bit too late as we see that bomb more there, just to be able to say, I'm going to stagger myself, and I have the confidence to do so.
Yeah, Echo Fleet has evolved into Boomburst Battalion right now. They're starting to look like how we expected them to be coming into the series. They're looking strong, they're taking space, they're taking the motions that they want to right now. And they're playing it on the same compositions as well, so I think they just need a little bit of a mental refresh, just to get back into gear on the halftime. Like, all right, let's focus up. We know what we're doing. We're just not doing it right now. We got to make sure that we're playing to our expectations, and they're starting to get to that point. Full support ults is a great way to come into this next fight as well.
Yep, they're already setting up, taking some good engagements and angles, but look at this, the Brawl wants to be able to move forward. They're using that Molten Core, stopping anyone from truly kind of splitting in between them, until the Transcendence makes you look like a fool, as that's perfectly going to heal you up. The barrage popped onto the high ground, not able to take it out fast enough and leave and losing your mech. Seems Echo Fleet are being able to work well off of this competition, because Domination do not understand how to go against it, as they're just stuck inside this small house and really just kind of staggered to a very large extent.
Yeah, this is rough. Gap is going to be switching over to the legs, trying to get some value on this double hit scan against Miko, who has been doing a lot of value, mind you. But I don't think quite enough to warrant the double hit scan. You've already shown that you can beat this competition with a Brawl, with the Sigma hit by Earth Shatter. You're going to see if you can run over.
They are moving forward. It seems that the immortality is more than enough to keep them up, though it is still a lot of damage, and they're having to worry about that. Joe Mama just barely builds up that sound barrier, saves them from the Gravitic Flux, and gives them room to move forward. Miko gone, they no longer have a lot of burst damage, meaning these streets face become an issue of engagement. But the Reds is there due to the Minds being able to kind of be that plus up, and now they're struggling to be able to kind of break through this corner, as not only do they have a lot there, but they're just feeling perfectly fine. It's a lot harder to move in when the enemy team knows where you're moving.
The heels have been dug in here for Domination. They've found their footing. I said I wasn't the biggest fan of the Soldier plus the Cassidy, but they're starting to prove me wrong. And now Ewan switching over to the Cassidy as well with the Brawl comp, and please tell me Sully doesn't say this end. Please do not play Lucio Zen with the Brawl comp. Please don't give me an aneurysm. They're doing it. No.
No, I think we've lost. I mean, they're most likely wanting to switch it up. This trance will allow them to push forward to good conditions, but the window's there, and the Shatter lands, meaning that there is not enough that Transcendence can do to save you from this aggression of Domination.
Yeah, you know why I don't like saying on the Zen, even in a situation where it might work out? Huge trance, bro. It's just not the pick, I don't think. Miko switching over to the Doomfist. This is a similar composition to how you started the series with, except you're playing the Cassidy instead of the Symmetra. So you're back on the even footing where you started, but going into a lot of ults. High noons, tactical visor, self-destruct. They're probably gonna have enough time between this fight and the next to farm up a window and maybe even a sound barrier as well.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of room. Luckily, though, Miko's onto the Doomfist, meaning that they can just punch in. Until that bomb gets stuck onto the payload, splits them up. They do manage to split out Vex, who's now stuck inside the enemy's backline, and eventually punching out, canceling out the high. They're looking pretty fine on the side of Echo Fleet, being able to take out the damage and kind of return it back tenfold. Even if Gap wanted to use that visor, it'd be used in ill vein as they're pushing in almost. No, they are taking out Foxherd and then almost taking that punch until Classy just barely dodges it. Now they're on third point. Maybe they are bringing it back.
So this is what I wanted to see from Echo Fleet starting off this series. They're playing aggressive, and most importantly, they made the comp swap, which throughout the first 2 maps, they were completely unwavering in their wants to do nothing outside from stay on their comp.
Now look at that, the visors being used close, combined with the window. It's more than enough to find out too, making you feel like you're in Gotham, as no matter where you go, it seems you're being caught out.
So next fight, we got the Noon and the Meteor Strike. Those are pretty good ultimates. But if you ask me, Gap still being on the Soldier 76, sure, it did get a lot of value with Tactical Visor, but you're going to want people to be thinking about switching off of that, especially with these ults like would be used from Echo Fleet.
Yeah, it does seem this High Noon is used as an engagement. Does split them up, but the sound barrier is there just perfectly. CQ has no one to be able to help you out, and now that Shatter has basically left you up to be cooked and be sent back to your spawn room. Now, with only a minute left, they maybe have 2-1 fights to try to help themselves out.
I mean, that's not how I expected that fight to go whatsoever. Miko switching over to the Hanzo, enough with the Doomfist. Let's switch it up a little. This is just not how I expected that last fight to go. And coming in here, still the Soldier 76 is working. The double hit scan is working. So they're just giving you reasons as to not doubt them right now. And, oh, this is a reason to doubt.
Hey, not too much to worry. Look at that, Vex is still there. They're able to find out Relentless, though Classy is able to find out Miko, meaning this stall is going to be a lot harder. EQ is still alive to be able to shield them through anything. That window is there just to stall them out. So, hey, it's still very much in their favor as Echo Fleet coming back with both support ults. They now, Echo Domination, they're being able to come back with Vex and the High Noon if they want to be a bit more defensive, but that window is going to be very much kind of a lot of damage to their shield. They do find out Toxic's mech, meaning there's nothing stopping this Gap until Yoon uses the High Noon, catches out too. Mama, Classy, taken out. Now, the only one left to do anything is going to be Relentless, who does manage to find out Miko once again, but you're dead. You now no longer have any respawn room, and we're going to be seeing Echo being close to capture. They're very, very eager to, but the stall's there. We're seeing Classy come onto the Wrecking Ball, and they're looking for that focus fire. They need to be able to capture, but more importantly, stay onto the point. They're being able to take out the mass majority, as the only people now being onto the point is going to be the Mei, and, well, the Mei, as no one else is coming back. They stop it in overtime, meaning that there is no chance to bring it back. Right now, you just need to stop them having all 3 points.
Bye, user. I got this. So,
yeah, don't worry. I had to walk away just to make it a bit more dramatic.
Yeah, that's what's happened. So the best part about this for Domination is you got it to overtime. You're not out of the woods yet, not by a long shot, but getting the other team into overtime is a great move, considering the fact that you lost first and second as fast as you did. First point took about a minute and a half for them to cap. Second point took them about a minute and a half to cap. Third point took them the rest of their time being to cap. That's, let me think, that's 5 minutes. Took them 5 minutes effectively. If you count third point plus the time to actually just move the extra time to just capture objectives, it was 5 minutes, third point plus the fluff. Now we're going to see them coming again into the Doom Cassidy comp. That's actually really fun to say. Thank you for changing his name to that. Doom Cassidy comp. Doom Cassidy comp. That's fun. But on the other side, we got the Simba, baby!
Oh my goodness, you're a little bit too excited just to be able to see this composition run out, and why is that?
It's because me and my friend invented it. That is not an exaggeration. I can prove it because
Oh,
I have
man.
the oldest video of this composition where I'm in it playing on that team.
Hey, you can have the confidence all you want that you made it, but they are running it, and they're running it better. As we see the rotations come out, CQ being able to charge out Vex, but the immortality's there just to be able to be fine, as Relentless now jumps onto the point, giving up that high ground advantage, almost gets hit by the Doomfist, and somehow Miko's able to freely escape without a care in the world. They are able to get these first 2 initial picks, and now Relentless is struggling to stay alive, but Miko manages to force them out, and eventually the shatter gets canceled! That's gonna hurt a lot as we just see them moving forward, being able to cap this first point, but truly much out of a care in the world. It just seems the stall was all they needed, though the window was not one that they did.
I know. Amigo stuff. So the reason why the Bastion setup works so well, what you can do is actually teleport you don't need the Sigma for this. Fun fact. You only need a Reinhardt because you can TP the Reinhardt onto the top of the statue with the Bastion. He falls onto one of the shoulders. So you get a perfect shield on him. If you run the Diva as well, that lets you get onto the next high ground, which is the last part of the puzzle. If you get that next high ground, then you can TP the Bastion onto that once the TP's back and refresh, because they're going to be hiding behind library or hotel or whatever that place is called. I don't remember. But they're going to be hiding back there. Bastion gets the perfect sightline after the TP, and you clear them off. And you get the perfect position.
Oh, that's an issue though. The window is right there. They pop out Shatter, Gravitic, Sound Barrier, and then the tank mode finishes you off with 2. Relentless eventually gets taken up by Miko, but by this area, I mean, Gap is still there, putting in an insane amount of damage, and that's a pretty good team kill.
And the best part, they're not going to be switching, but Relentless could have swapped if you wanted to. The worst part, you used 5 ults, and you don't have the wall because you used it on first when there was 1 player left alive on the enemy team. Miko makes the good choice to switch over to the Junkrat from the Doomfist, which does nothing against the Bastion. Vex kind of turbo feeds, though.
Hey, I mean, still, Domination are moving forward with over 5 minutes in their time bank. We are seeing ultimates set up, but the stall is there now. Burly Miko goes onto that Junkrat just to be able to pump in some damage, but this is still a very concerning push.
Yeah, I mean, this is the comp classic right now. Enemy team caps, you get tilted, you go Bastion, you cap for 5 more minutes. I mean, there's not much else to say right now. This has been the Bastion comp play to a T. They're playing aggressive, which is the most important part.
Yep, they throw that bomb out. Doesn't manage to find them out, but Relentless is stunned, struggling to be up. Miko eventually goes down, and Yoon gets poked. Now with that window being there, I pretty much believe that blocked the Shatter as they're freely able to move forward. Domination not stopping this payload for anyone at all. Now there's no one left to truly touch even when the Shatter. 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Folks, this could be the end. There is no 4th map in playoffs.
No, it's over. It's done. There's no
No,
way
it's
you
not.
hold.
There is.
I'm gonna say there's not literally 0 chance. Of course, there's always a chance. But I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but you're done. You're done. If 4.5,
What are you,
5
my
minutes.
mom?
I said 5 minutes more than you had. They literally capped with 4:55 more. There's no way that you can hold a point for 5 minutes. Any point in this game, that's basically impossible.
Listen,
Except for 2 CP.
the only way that I'm going to be honest with you, the only way I truly see this being possible is if Domination walked out of the spawn room, said, you know what, I want to play Overwatch a bit more, and just did not play the game. I think that this is very hard for Echo Fleet to kind of make this happen, especially against a Bastion, because you can't beat the Bastion composition unless you're predicting it, and it seems like they're predicting it.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? And the worst part about this is you have to play an extremely suboptimal comp to beat the Junkrat, or not beat the Junkrat, but beat the Bastion. Which, by the way, Junkrat's how you beat the Bastion. Fun fact, you know, you just hide them in the statue, you conk mine up, bonk, 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 dead. But you're playing an extremely suboptimal comp that the moment that Domination see this, they don't even have to commit a fight. They can just go back and switch, and they have 4.5 minutes to play an optimal comp against this suboptimal composition.
Yeah, look at that. The Bastion already set up, making sure to take these line of sight. But the Wrecking Ball gets found out, nearly melted down to hell, and Toxic Well, it's pretty toxic how much damage they're being able to put in. Playing control onto this point, Vex may be hit with that anti and they eventually slam him down, but they're not good at putting in any damage. It's very much over as Relentless melts it down.
Over.
And I can't believe I'm saying this. What a fast match and a pretty dominated one, because Domination, well, they're going to be moving up to the upper bracket.
I mean, they got positive for Domination. They dominate the team that just beat them 27 days ago, 3-1, with a 3-0 dominant sweep. The downside is they're coming into the next match and they got to run into Quaka Queens, which obviously winning is great. See, I'm never gonna say, hey, you should probably just lose this, lol. But they're coming into this against Quaka Queens as their next matchup, and if I remember correctly, it's gonna be Inferno Foxes versus Echo Fleet. And if you're Echo Fleet, you're feeling comfortable in that losers bracket, unless you go into Domination again. That's the only team you would be scared of, as well as Quaka Queens. Those are the only two teams that at this point can drop down to the losers bracket and fight you. So that might sound like, oh, well, you know, Echo Fleet just lost them, so it is scary. And you're right, and that's my point. Echo Fleet are in a position right now where they have to go against their two biggest threats, aside from obviously like Reminiscence, who's ridiculous. Like, their two biggest threats right now in the losers bracket, not the winners bracket. If they manage to win this match, they would have a great chance to just go in, beat Domination again, because you've proven you could do it twice. But now Domination are in a position where they are an advantage, and they're the 5th seed, by the way, coming into the upper bracket finals before the championship bracket, at least winter finals, against, as I repeat, Quaka Queens. Very scary team.
I think Quaka Queens very much are one of the best teams right now. They've been looking very good, and I'm no longer a part of the org, so, well, technically, kind of, don't even worry about it. So, you know, you can't call me biased, but I think no matter what, you got to be taking all these teams seriously. Every team right now has deserved their spot as they've been pushing forward, but Echo Fleet definitely need to see more coming out of them, especially if they want to move forward in the series. But right now, this is a moment where we get to sit here and talk about an MVP, and I've got to say, Gap all the way.
Gap? Yeah.
There was a gap in the performance, okay? Gap absolutely played out of their mind.
Sir, I'm going to request that you calm down, because we got a classy turtle in the building, all right? This guy was an absolute force on off-tank tonight. It's a shame that Blizzard are removing the main tank role, because this guy is a great off-tank, it looks so far. He played such a good series tonight. In my opinion, it was a very clear, like, from map 2 in Temple of Anubis, when he was just playing so aggressive on the Sigma. Even before that, I was like, wow, this guy's playing really good on Lijiang Tower. And on map 2, I was like, all right, this seals it. This guy is playing out of his freaking skull. He's a monster. I mean, I do think Gap played very well, obviously, but man, Classic Turtle played so good that series.
You know, I won't lie. You definitely have a fair point. I think right now we're just both looking at two different things. I think Gap got a lot more value and just absolutely popped off for the entirety of the game onto that Symmetra, and that's kind of why I'm just throwing my hat in for them. But really, I think it's kind of up to the viewers on who they thought were the true shining star when it came to this series. But more than anything, we're kind of done here when it comes to tonight. Do you have any kind of lasting thoughts?
I mean, I gotta quote one of the greatest YouTube channels of all time. For the MVP, who won? Who's next? You don't decide. But hey, those of you who get that, you're officially an internet boomer.
Yeah. It's a good, fair play. Either way, this is pretty much it for Tranquility, though. Don't go anywhere. We do have Beat Drop, which is absolutely insane. It's hosted by Jungle God, a very beautiful man with a very beautiful beard, meaning that you can sit there. Wait, no, Captain Jack. I get them confused. They're both two beautiful people. My goodness.
They're both very powerful men.
Yeah,
no, I was using my webcam mic this whole time!
You didn't realize that, good man?
Why didn't nobody tell me?
Couldn't tell. You sound terrible no matter how you talk. Either way, I want to thank everybody right now for enjoying this Tranquility match. We love the support, and we thank you as we continue forward. If you like what you saw, you can hit that little heart. it's a follow. You can hit the little bell, that's notifications. You can follow the Twitter, you can join the Discord to stay up to date, join the community, and we thank you so much for tuning in. I'm User Intel, this is Time Monster, and we can't wait to see you on the next Tranquility stream.